Hello, welcome to my channel and welcome to my website. My name is Daryl and this is Programming in Any Language. The website is www.black-duck.com. It's where you'll find all my videos organized in logical order. The image list control is a tool, but it's a tool that contains an array. It allows you to store a number of images in your application and assigns an integer index to each picture. Using that index, you can refer to the image list control from a picture box, a label, a button, or any control that can accept an image. I used this concept when I created the video titled How Numeric Variables Are Stored. You can see that part of the video behind me right now. Note, there are 12 picture boxes in the application capable of showing the bytes used for the numbers 0 through 9, including a minus sign. These images are stored in an image list control and displayed in the picture box when needed. And yes, an array is involved. This next video will show you how to set up the image list control and use it. In fact, we'll build the simple poker hand video you see behind me right now. This will be a fun one. Take a look. Okay, we're going to take a look at the image list control. It's a control. It's often found in sections on arrays. And that's because it contains an array, and it's useful for arrays. But it's actually a control that you actually move onto your form and make it work. Take a look. I've got something here showing a little list, the image list control, showing a random card. And there's a button down there, and there's a card up on top. It can display any card that you might have in your file. Basically, in fact, I'll show you how all this thing works as we go along here. I used it once before. Back in, I think it was probably my 8th video, I used the image list control to display the binary configuration of an integer and how it's stored in strings when you parse it or go to string. Basically, as you see on the screen right here, we got a -1, 2. So we have 3 bytes actually holding the number -1, 2. And when you parse it to an integer, it still uses 4 bytes no matter what. The negative sign is over here, and the 8 and 4 gives you 12 over here in this particular thing. And there's a video showing you how all this kind of thing works. Very useful. What happened is you've got these 3 images here, and there's a lot more images of negative, and then 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, sitting out there in the image list control. And these are picture boxes arranged over here. So when you need something, you need a number to display here, you use the index of that image list control and just paste it into the picture box, and you've got your number sitting up there very nicely. The image list control is a container, basically, that holds multiple images. To retrieve an image from an image list control, you use its index and display the image in a picture box control. Again, that's where the idea of the array comes in. The image list control is found in the component section of the toolbox. You got to use some guidelines when you use the image list control in an application. All images should be the same size. They should be no more than 256 by 256 pixels, and you can use the same format of a graphic in BMPs, JPEG, whatever you might have handy. I'm going to kind of display this kind of thing by using a poker hand. We're going to set up a poker hand platform here where we can use the image control to hold all 52 cards. And we'll display 5 of them as a poker hand by pressing the deal button sitting here in the corner. Let's give that a shot. Okay, we're going to start out this application by using a blank form and kind of creating this on the fly as we go along. We don't need too much on here. What we really need is we're going to need a picture box, no doubt. So we'll go to the picture box area and bring it up here, and we'll just put it on the screen now, one of these things, and we'll size it later as we get to this thing. The other thing we're going to need is probably a title, so we'll lay it up in here and call it Poker Hand. We won't use anything here, but we will change the sizing on it so it looks a little better. Make it bold and maybe a 20 in size. And then center it on the form. We're going to have a series of cards here, 5 cards. So we'll make the form a little bit bigger, but we're going to have a button certainly on the bottom. And we're going to call it Deal. And we'll make that a little larger as well. Make it about a 14. Size it up a little bit. Make it Button Deal. And of course our exit button, which will make a copy of this so you get the same formatting. Call it Exit. And call it Button Exit. Now what I want to do is I want to place a deck of cards, or at least the cards, in these 5 picture box that I'm going to have placed up here. Where am I going to get those cards? Well, you need a deck of cards someplace. I happen to have some here. I have this whole file here that I pull off. It's got 55, I think. It's got some jokers in here, and it's got some backings here and all that. So these things are all there. We'll go and pull these things off into our application. So right now, as long as you have these graphics sitting on a file someplace, you can do this. And they're easy to get. You can pull them off the internet, whatever you need to do. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to actually go ahead and close up my common controls and go down to my components. In my components, I'm going to find the image list. This is that array component I'm talking about. I'm going to double click on it, and notice it doesn't go up here. It goes down here in the component area, and we have it sitting right over here. We're going to call this thing IML cards, image list cards. So I'm going to give it a name. It doesn't have a lot of properties. IML cards. And we're going to change the image size. Well, we don't know what it's going to be just yet. So 16 by 16 is what it's going to stay right now. Now we're going to go up to our little poker deck here, or our poker card here, and I want to grab this guy. I want to actually go to its images. And we're going to go and find the image. Well, actually, we're going to name this thing PBX card 1. We'll get 5 more up here once we get the formatting done for this particular guy. We're going to go ahead and give it a background image. So I'm going to go to the background image here, and I'm going to hit the ellipses here, and I'm going to navigate to that folder where I had all those cards sitting. Right in here. And I had a set of large cards. And I'm going to look for a background image. And let's go with red this time and say open there. That's going to pop it in place. I'm going to say OK to this. That gives that background image. It looks terrible on here. So I'm going to go ahead and change the layout. Instead of tile, I'm going to drop it down to probably, you can use, center's not going to work. Stretch might work. Zoom might work. Zoom kind of looks like you can actually configure it. Not too bad. I might go ahead and do that. I might bring it up now and size it so it's sitting in the zoom so it looks about like that. And we're going to look at what the size actually is. And it's 30 by 106. So we can hold it like that. Having it like this now allows me to place it somewhere in this section. I need 5 more like this. So I'm going to go ahead and do a Control C and do 1, 2, 3, 4. Put the rest of them in place here and get them all assigned. Now I got to give them all a name. So I'll call this one, what do we call this first one? We called it PBX card 1. This will be PBX card 2. This will be PBX card 3. This will be PBX card 4. And this will be PBX card 5. Now we can kind of maybe stretch this out a little bit, lay them in here so they look a little better. Kind of adjust them, maybe wrap the whole thing around there and then format them to align their tops. And format horizontal spacing, make equal. And that looks pretty good right now. We can also center them on the form now, horizontally. And they're right in there. Looks good. Now we can center this guy on the form too. And we'll take these two guys. Are their tops aligned? Yeah, format, center and form, horizontally. They look pretty good. Okay. So our deck is done. We could move these up if we wanted to. And then bring this up a little tighter. And we've got our application. Do a file save. Do a run on this thing. See what it looks like. Okay, it looks pretty good. Looks decent. That's how we kind of want it. We don't have anything done here, so we'll go and clear this thing off. And the first thing I'll do is I'll do my exit button. So I'll go ahead and write the code for this. And it'll be a close form. This.close. And we got that set. File save. Now, what do we want to do? Well, we're going to want to build a... We're going to have the deal is going to be able to do something. So we've got an exit form, and we're going to have a deal is all it's going to do. So deal is going to go ahead and fill our cards in there, but it's going to be a little more work than just dealing. So we need to go into the deal button here and actually click on it and get it set up. So what we're going to do with deal is we want to be able to set up something with an integer. So we want to set up an int card count, int crd count equal to 0. And we're going to make that a global. I want to use that someplace. So we're going to put it up in the area up in here. And we're going to say int card count. And we can get rid of our toolbox. And we can then shut out and just call this the card counter. So we know if we got 5 cards actually done, because we'll have to deal them one at a time. We also want to create an array. So as we get these cards, we want an int of int cards dealt. So we're going to put all of the cards into an array. Be a new int 5. And this will be array to hold 5 cards. So we're going to deal these things, put the cards in here, and then later on we'll display them. So we need to go down here now to our int card count here. We'll go put a semicolon on the end of that thing, and this will be a clear card counter. So we're always setting it to 0 when we first come into this button. This button's also going to go ahead and generate the cards. So it's going to go ahead and actually call card deal routine. We're also going to display the hand. Call display hand routine. Now, it's pretty easy to do the display hand routine, so I'm kind of going to do that first, even though we're not going to have much there. We can take a look at this and go ahead and create the display hand routine. So I'm going to set private void display hand. And that sets up our routine. It gets rid of our error. And right inside here, we're going to say that PBX card1.image is going to be equal to the IML card.image, and we're going to use the array int cards dealt 0, and this will be display first card. Now the rest of them are going to be just as easy. I could use an array, I could use a loop here, but since we only have 5 cards, I'm just going to do a 1, 2, 3, 4, and change these to 2, 3, 4, 1, and this is going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's going to look at the array and actually put it in there. I'm going to actually comment this out, and we'll do a file save, and we'll see if we have anything wrong with this so far. Now poker hand is coming up nicely. Exit works. That's fine. Start it again. Try the deal, and it errors out on us because it doesn't have anything to go into the first card. It's out of range. Okay, so we have to deal with that and put it in place. We haven't actually set it up, so that's fine. At least we know it's working from what we actually need. We're going to take the commenting off of this thing. Stop debugging. And what we're going to have to do now is generate the card. So we've got the loop here. We've got the fact we've got the array is set up here. It's all set up to go. This looks like it's correct. It should be just fine. So we really have to worry about the displaying of the generated cards. We're going to go right down here. We're going to actually generate that routine now. So I'm going to say private void generate cards, and there's our routine. That gets rid of our error. Now we actually have to write this thing. So we're going to do that by looking at the fact, well, we're going to have to go through this deck a number of times. So we're going to need a Boolean that we already selected. We're going to check for duplicates on here. So we're going to go ahead and say we're going to create a Boolean called BLN already selected. So we don't want duplicates falling in, because with a random number generator, which we'll use to generate the cards, we could easily generate 2 ace of clubs, for example. And we don't want that to happen. So this is going to be a Boolean for checking duplicates. Next, we're going to put in an int card selected. So when we grab a card, it's going to be 0 through 52 or something of that nature. So we'll put this in place, and we'll go ahead and say we want an integer to hold selected card. Now we're going to set up a random number generator. Random bozo, or whatever you want to call it, equals new random. And this creates the random object. Now, before we go any further, let's go back to our form and look at our imp cards here. We went ahead and put this thing in place, right? You know, our background for our card. We now want to be able to take our IML cards and put in the deck right in here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say my images are going to be a collection. So it's going to be this right here. I'm going to navigate to those cards again, and I'm going to add. What am I going to add? Here's the entire deck. I'm going to add the first one through the last one. Shift on there and open. And all those guys pop in here with an index assigned to them, as you can see. 0, 2 clubs, 2 diamonds. Doesn't matter where they are as long as I got them out here. I have a couple things I don't want. I've got a joker. We're going to get rid of the joker by removing it, and we're going to remove this joker. We're also going to remove those background, the back face. I don't need it here, and get rid of that. So that's gone. Now I've got my 0 through 51, which is 52 cards. So my full deck is now showing, and I now can sit there with that. Now the other thing I can do, this thing may run right now, so I'm going to go ahead and look at my I don't want this generator. What's anything happening to generate cards? Boolean? No, it won't hurt anything. So we can go ahead and do a file save and do a run. It comes up. I hit deal. Notice I get the small little image popping up on the top here. Not in here. That's kind of interesting. So we may have an error there. I want to be able to fix that. So I want that to be the same size as these cards right here. So I'm going to hit exit. And let's look at this. 1, 2, 3. Oh, here's why. Card 5. There we go. And then we're going to go ahead and take that image, and notice that each card is sized 115 by 161. That's what we want this to be, 115 by 161. So I'll go down here and I'll say 115 by 161, and that makes the cards the same. File save it all. Do a run quickly and do a deal. And it gives us all 2 clubs because it's not doing any of the random number generator stuff right now. But our cards fit and they look good here. Now we can actually piece this together to get the actual deck going. So we'll go back to this form here, a new random number generator. And what we want to do here is we want to go down here under the random number generator. We want to set up a while. So I'm going to say while int card count is less than 5. In other words, why I have less than 5 cards. It didn't work out, is less than. Much better. Okay, it likes that a lot better now. Okay, we got that. So while card count is less than 5, we want to go ahead and say int card selected is equal to bozo.next. And we want to put a 52 in here. So 0 through 51 is going to be generated, which is going to match one of those cards in that image list. So this will give us a number that will match one of those cards, a random number. So this is going to generate the actual card. This will be selecting the card. Now, since we did that, we want to set up that Boolean, BLN already selected, is equal to false. So we want to make it false right now. And then we're going to go ahead and say that for int I equals 0. I is actually less than 5. Let's go ahead and do this. I want to say less than 5. Int plus plus. We're going to increment. So I'm going to do a loop of. I want to look through the array to see if we actually have this thing yet. If we actually got this number, this image selected thing. We're going to do it by saying that if int card selected is equal to int cards delt sub I, then I want to say BLN already selected is equal to true. And this is going to be check for duplicate. So it goes through that process that if the card has been dealt in this loop, then we want to set this Boolean to true so we know we already have this card and we won't want to count it then. So once that's done, we go down here and we say, great, if not BLN already selected, then int cards delt from int card count is equal to int card selected. Add card to array. So since we don't have it, we can pop it into the array. So it's going to go in there. It's going to go in as 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, depending on what number we are in our deal. We also need to go ahead down here and also say then that int card count is equal to int card count plus 1. This will increment our card counter. So now we know we have 1 already selected. We add 1 to it. Now we're working on card number 2 and go from there. Is that all we need to do? That's possibly all we need to do to make this thing work. So let's do a file save and do a run. Our poker hand comes up. We'll do a deal. And look at that, 6, 2, 5, 7, 9. Found us unique cards. We can do another one. Queen, got a pair of queens, got a king. These are really ugly pictures, I can see that. Do another deal. Ace, 2 pair of 4s. Pair of 6s. Nothing. Ace, king, jack, 2 pair of 9s. So you can plan and play with that. Hey, exit and you pop out. Does it still work if you start over again? Of course it does. Does it start with the same thing? No, it starts up with something new. Basically nothing and again. So that's all it takes to actually do a poker hand and use that particular feature. Obviously, the image list control can be very useful in game programming. In fact, down the road, we'll create a chess game to demonstrate that. You'll also see the image list control pop up in a variety of other applications as we move forward. Again, it's especially useful with any kind of graphics you need organized and displayed in your form. Next, we're going to tackle the list. It's an extremely useful array that can be expanded on the fly. That'll be interesting. Very useful. Well, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to use the website for easy access to all my videos. If you get a chance, please subscribe. That way, you'll be notified when something new is available. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.